Welcome back, everyone. So, today I've got a martial law deck profile I wanted to share with you guys. Excuse me. This is a more standard version of martial law that I think is still going to do really well, but it's nowhere near the insanity of the one that I put over on my Patreon, so if you want to check that out, I guess it's patreon.com/uvshermit, or I'll have a link in the description below, where you'll get, probably not the same video a day early. I'm kind of rethinking that, but I'm thinking of doing more Patreon exclusive videos. And then maybe doing like normal versions of the characters here and more crazy out there cool variants on the Patreon. So feel free to check that out in the link below if you want to help support the channel even more. So Martial Law is one of the Tekken promo characters from the Season 3 local store championships. He's a 7 hand size, 19 health character with fire, order, and water as his symbols, and the brawler trait, which is cool. He has 2 responses, the first of which is, after your rival commits 1 or more foundations during the enhanced step, this attack gets +1 or -1 speed. And then his other response is, after you commit 1 or more foundations during this the enhanced step, this attack gets +1 or -1 damage. So he really takes advantage of a lot of control pieces that we'll see here in the deck, and I think it's really cool just how tanky this 19 health character can be because of that defensive speed and damage reduction. So let's get into the attacks first. We have Pressing the Advantage. This is a really cool kill card for this deck. It's a 5/2, 3 low for 5 with a 2 low block. It's got EX2 and Charge, so there's a good momentum out for us. Blitz. Commit 1 rival foundation. This attack gets +X damage. X equals the number of your rival's committed foundations. So not only are you committing a selective rival foundation, you get to choose, so obviously their best defensive piece, which will then have Law respond to give this 1 speed, so it becomes a 4 low 5, but then it gets a bunch of damage equal to the number of their committed foundations. That's pretty solid, not only for getting rid of their best defensive piece, but also dealing a lot of damage if it connects. And what stun style deck would not be complete without Walk the Dog? An 8 difficulty, 3 control, 6 low for 6 with a 2 low block. It's got powerful 3, ranged, stun 1, and weapon. So stun 1 obviously forces your rival to commit 1 foundation, which will then allow Martial Law to give you +1 speed. This attack gets -1 difficulty for each committed foundation in your rival stage, maximum to a -4, so this can become a 4 difficulty card really, really quick. And enhance, draw 1 card for each copy of Walk the Dog in your card pool. When you're already a 7-hander, extra draw is nuts. Next we have Ice Sword Execution. This is a really good one. It's a 5/3, 5 high 5 with a +2 high block and the weapon keyword. Enhance, name 1 foundation. Commit all copies of that foundation in all stages. So if you say commit Feral Shriek, and you have 1 and your rival has 1, you both commit all copies of this card, and then since your rival committed a copy, you get +1 speed, and since you committed a copy, you get +1 damage, thanks to Law. So a really good way to get some boost here, and we can spend 1 momentum. This attack gets +5 damage, and freeze 1 rival foundation. So if we're continuously stunning our rival to get more and more speed, or just tapping them out entirely, this +5 damage on top of any damage we gain from committing our own foundations is really gonna hurt a lot. So pretty cool, plus we get our zone mix up from these 2 low attacks into a very powerful high attack. Your rival's not really gonna know what to do. Next we have Shards of Winter, a 4/3, 1 mid for 5 with a +2 mid block. 1 mid. It's got ranged and stun 1, so again stun 1 commits a rival foundation, you then get +1 speed with Law, and then enhance, this attack gets +X speed, X equals the number of committed rival foundations. So you're going to get speed for committing their foundations, and then get speed because they have committed foundations. This is going to hit. Almost 9 times out of 10, this is going to hit. And enhance, if this attack deals damage, draw 1 card. We love drawing cards, especially as a 7-hander. Next we have Vile Seizing. This is a 4/3, 3 high for 4 with a 1 high block. Breaker 1 and Fury. Breaker, one of my top 2 favorite keywords. or keyword abilities. Enhance, your rival makes a check against a difficulty of 7. If they fail, draw 1 card, and this attack gets +2 damage. So, in order to pass a check of 7, they would have to commit foundations, which means Law, since a foundation was committed during the enhance step, can give you more speed. So they either give you speed, or they give you damage and let you draw. And as a deadlock enhance, your rival's checks get -2 for the rest of the turn. That's just going to guarantee that your +7, your check of 7s are always going to fail, so that you can always get that damage and draw a card. And lastly, for our attacks, we have Flame Scourger, a 4/3, 4 mid for 3 with a +2 mid block. It's got Fury ranged and again, Stun 1. We love Stun 1 in Martial Law. Enhance, if your rival has more committed foundations than ready foundations, this attack gets +3 damage. So Stun 1 makes this a 5 mid 3, so it becomes a 5 mid 6 on a 4 diff. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good rate for a 4 diff. So that is our pretty even spread of, I think we have 2 of each type of zone. We have 2 lows, 2 highs and 2 mids, yeah. So we're definitely just changing up the block zone, so our rival's never going to know what blocks they need to hold, and we're constantly putting pressure on our rival's stage while threatening huge damage with Pressing the Advantage, Ice Sword Execution, Walk the Dog. Our rival's really going to struggle, and these are all from base stats and their own abilities, not including anything that we do with Law. Onto our assets, we have Item Box, one of the best defensive pieces in the game right now. It's a 2/5 with a 2 low block and the unique keyword, so you can only have 1 in your stage at a time. But we commit this during the enhance step, return this attack to its printed speed and damage, return it to its printed zone, and if it was unblockable, it is no longer unblockable. Just set this all back to baseline 0, I'm going to block it. Or, if it's like a printed 3 damage attack, I'm just going to take it. I don't care. Next we have Vertical Maneuvering Equipment, one of the best assets, period, in the game right now. 2/5 +1 mid block. Enhance, spend 1 momentum. This attack gets +3 or -3 speed, and you may change its zone. So you can do it on your rival's turn to guarantee that you're going to perfect block something, or you can mix up your zones and give your attack even more speed that your rival can't deal with it. And Enhance, commit. This attack is +2 damage. If it deals damage to a backup, ready this asset. It's mainly just a little bit of extra damage to push through. Nothing special. Next we have Showdown for our actions, a 3/4 with a 3 high block. Response, after you block with this card, commit 2 rival foundations, so we selectively commit which 2 they commit. And then response, commit 2 foundations. After your rival plays an ability on an action card, cancel it. So we can commit 2 foundations to cancel, what is the card? Barrier Shield, to protect our speed. We can cancel other showdowns, and if we cancel an enhance on an action, then that's us committing foundations for +1 or -1 damage thanks to Law. So we could, in theory, use both of these abilities quite well, even though it's really only used for that top ability. Onto our foundations, we have Feral Shriek. This is a 2/5 with a 3 high block. Response, remove. After you discard this card during the combat phase, draw 1 card. I don't think we have a lot of discard in here. I think it's mainly here for the response. After your rival's combat phase begins, discard 1 card and draw 1 card. So this is just a way to cycle through some cards, get better blocks in our hand maybe. Like if we have 3 high blocks in hand, we can pitch 1 and hopefully draw a mid or a low. Or if we have no cards in hand, we could just draw a card, because the discarding is not a cost, it's part of the effect. Next we have Military Police Presence. I love this card for Law. It is a 2/5 with a 2 low block. It says enhance, this attack, commit, this attack gains stun 1 and 1 damage. So we commit this for cost, Law gives us 1 damage, we get another damage from Military Police Presence, and then we get stun 1, which commits a rival foundation and gives us speed, so it's effectively 2 speed and 2 damage on a commit cost. That's insane rate for +2 speed, +2 damage effectively. Really, really powerful card. Nullifying Force, we are a squishy 19 health character, so a 3-5 with a 2 mid block that we just flip as a response to say this attack's damage cannot be modified is pretty solid, especially if we run out of cards to block with. We have Big Sister of 1B, 2-5 with a 2 mid block. Enhance Commit, this attack gets 2 speed. So that means it gets +2 speed and +1 damage in Law. Enhance Commit, if your character's hand size is greater than your rival's, this attack gets -2 speed. So if we're playing against a 6 or a 5-hander, we can commit this during our rival's turn for -2 speed, -1 damage. And then Response, Tenacious, after this card is committed during the Enhance step, this attack gets +1 or -1 damage. So effectively, it's a commit for +2/+2, or it's a commit for -2/-2. Really, really solid. Because this can be used offensively and defensively, instead of Military Police Presence, which can just be used offensively. So that +2/-2 is really, really strong. Next we have Fighting for Control. It's a 2-4 with a 3 high block. Response, Rival's turn, flip. After your rival makes a check to play a non-foundation card, that check gets -2. Failing that check will not end the combat phase. This is a good way to force your rival to commit more foundations so they have to overcommit into your turn, and then you just commit a few cards to tap them out and just pump a whole bunch of damage in. It could also be used mid-string to hopefully screw up one of your rival's attack turns so that they have to abort an attack. And saying, I'm going to flip this foundation, I don't have to deal with that attack, is just a really good exchange rate. Master of Drunken Fighting. It's a 2-5 with a 2 low block. Enhance Commit. Your rival commits a foundation. So this one foundation says commit for +1 speed and +1 damage, or -1 speed and -1 damage. So just like Big Sister of 1B, that's going to give us the plus or minus the same stat, and really make our longevity last. But we play this on our rival's turn to survive, then it readies when we play it on our turn to commit more foundations and get more stats. This is the type of deck that's really going to control your rival's stage really, really well. We have Acrobatic Style, a 1-5 with a 3 low block. Response, Tenacious, flip. After your rival commits a foundation due to your effect, ready this card. We love that. We have Botan's Coaching. It's a 0-5 with a 3 mid block. Enhance, flip. Both players discard 1 card and draw 1 card. So we can draw 1, discard Feral Shriek to draw 2 effectively. Or, if we have no cards in hand, we simply draw 1 card, because the discard is not part of a cost. Heroic Endurance. This is another one of those cards that's really, really powerful in Law. It says, Enhance Commit. This attack gets -2 damage. Which, because we committed a foundation during the Enhance step, means Law gives it an additional -1. So it's commit for -3. And then Tenacious, remove, or playable while committed, remove. This attack gets -2 damage. This single foundation says -5 damage in Law. That's ridiculous. 1 foundation, -5 damage. 1 foundation potentially turn off an attack. Really, really powerful here. We have Foresight, a 0-5 with a 3 low block. Response, after we play this card, we get to look at the top card of our deck. If we're building, we get to see if we can build 1 more. Or Enhance Remove, reveal the top card of either player's deck. We can see if our next check is going to be good, or we can see the top of our rival's deck so we know how fast we need an attack in order to make sure it connects. We have League Invitation. It's a 3-5 with a 2 high block. Enhance your turn, commit. We'll get +1 damage off that. Your rival's next check this turn gets -2. That's pretty solid. Enhance flip. Your rival makes a check against difficulty of 7. If they fail, commit 1 rival foundation. You get to choose. Playable while committed, so we can get +1 or -1 speed, depending on whose turn we use this flip ability on. And if they fail, we get to commit for +1 or -1 speed. So either way, we're getting the +1, -1, and we force our rival to check. So it's either they commit maybe a minimum of 2 foundations, or we selectively pick which one we want. And last but not least, Ice Gliding. It's a 1-5 with a 3 mid block. It says Enhance Commit. This attack gets +1 or -2 speed, and if it's blocked, the next attack gets +1 or -1 speed. So it becomes +1 or +1 speed, +1 damage, or -2 speed, -1 damage, and then an additional +1 or -1 speed if this attack is blocked. So it's a really good back and forth there to make sure you can survive or push your damage through to the end. And that is this very basic loss. 64 cards. Could use more high blocks, but again, this is more basics, and if you're really just focusing on pressing your rival's stage down, hopefully you won't have to deal with too many attacks in a given turn, especially if you're doing stuff like freezing foundations or the like. But yeah, this is a pretty basic build for martial law off the order symbol. If you enjoy it and like the video, please give it a like and consider subscribing if you haven't already. I do a lot of different deck builds, though my more insane ones and more creative ones will be found on Patreon. And I'm going to be posting quite a few there, especially with Origins of Power coming out for Attack on Titan. That's got the old gears turning. And yeah, if you wanted to help the channel even more, please consider following me on Patreon. It's just a little bit of money, and it helps support the channel a lot. It really does. But no pressure, of course. I mainly do this for fun and for teaching. So, yeah, if you enjoy it, then I hope you'll consider giving me a follow, and I will see you guys in the next one. Later.